You already know something isn't adding up. You work hard. You put in the hours. You do everything you're supposed to do. And yet, at the end of every month, you look at your bank account and feel that quiet, uncomfortable feeling creeping in. Like you're running on a treadmill that never stops. Like no matter how fast you go, you're somehow staying in exactly the same place. And the worst part? Nobody ever taught you what to actually do with your money. That's not an accident, that's a gap. And today, that gap starts closing. Because here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. Long-term investing is not complicated. The financial world wants you to believe it is. They profit from your confusion. But the actual principles that create real, lasting wealth over time, they're simple, repeatable, and available to absolutely anyone who understands them. So let's talk about the real pain first. Let's actually sit in it for a second, because I think you deserve that honesty. Most people spend 30, 40 years working a job. They trade their most precious hours, their energy, their health, and their family time, all for a paycheck. And then one day they retire and realize the money they saved is not going to be enough. Not even close. They did everything they were told to do. They saved. They were responsible. But nobody told them that saving without investing is just slow financial suffocation. Inflation alone quietly eats your savings every single year. So that pile of money you worked a lifetime to build, it's shrinking in real value while it sits there doing nothing. That hits differently when you say it out loud. Now think about the cost of not knowing this. Not the financial cost, the human cost. It's the vacation you never took because it felt irresponsible. It's the stress you carried home every single night. It's the arguments over money that should never have happened. It's the dream you put on a shelf because you felt like you couldn't afford to chase it. The cost of inaction is always greater than the cost of learning. And this is exactly where the people who figured this out early started pulling away from everyone else. By the way, if you're watching this and you know you need more than just general guidance, if you want something structured and personalized that can actually accelerate what you're about to learn here, we have related programs linked down in the video description. People who are serious about building real financial momentum don't wait for the perfect moment. They move when the information is in front of them. So check that out when you're done watching, but stay with me right now because what comes next is where it all changes. Let's talk about how investing actually works. Not the textbook version, the real version. When you invest money into assets that grow over time, you are essentially hiring your money to go to work for you. While you sleep, while you're with your family, while you're doing literally anything else, your money is out there generating more money. That is the single most powerful concept in all of personal finance. And it's not magic, it's math. Compound growth is the mechanism behind every great fortune ever built. Here is the staggering reality. Money that grows consistently, even at modest rates, doubles, triples, and multiplies in ways that feel almost unreal when you first see them. The earlier you start and the longer you stay invested, the more dramatic that multiplication becomes. We're not talking about minor improvements. We're talking about the difference between financial stress for the rest of your life and genuine, lasting freedom. Now let's talk strategy. What actually works over the long term? Index fund investing is the foundation. Instead of trying to pick individual winning stocks, which even professional fund managers consistently fail to do, you buy a small piece of thousands of companies all at once. When the market grows, you grow with it. The data on this is overwhelming. Decades of evidence from markets all around the world show that consistent, low-cost index investing outperforms the vast majority of active strategies. This isn't a theory. This is documented, proven, and trusted by some of the most successful investors on the planet. The second strategy that separates people who build wealth from people who don't is consistency. Not timing the market, not chasing hot trends, not waiting for the perfect moment. Consistency. Investing a fixed amount on a regular schedule, regardless of what the market is doing, is called dollar cost averaging, and it is one of the most psychologically powerful and financially effective habits a person can build. When prices drop, your fixed investment buys more. When prices rise, the assets you already own increase in value. Over time, this smooths out volatility and compounds into something extraordinary. Here's where it gets emotionally heavy, and I need you to stay with me. The people who do this, who simply show up consistently, invest in broad index funds, and refuse to panic during market drops, they end up in a completely different life than the people who never started. Not slightly different, completely different. The ones who started are taking trips they never thought they could afford. They're covering unexpected expenses without a racing heartbeat. They're sleeping through the night without that low hum of financial anxiety that used to live in their chest. They have options, real options. The option to say no to jobs that drain them. The option to say yes to things that matter. That is the ROI you're actually investing toward. Not just numbers on a screen, a different quality of life, a different version of yourself. Third strategy, Diversification. This one is your protection system. Spreading your investments across different asset classes, geographies, and sectors means that when one part of the market struggles, another part can hold you up. The goal is never to avoid all risk. The goal is to manage risk intelligently so that no single event can wipe out what you've built. People who concentrate everything into one thing are gambling. People who diversify intelligently are building. Now here is where most people fall apart, and I want to be real with you about this. The hardest part of long-term investing is not finding the right fund. It's not opening the account. It's not even the money itself. The hardest part is staying in the game when everything feels terrifying. Because markets drop, sometimes dramatically, and when your portfolio value falls, every instinct you have screams at you to pull out, to protect what you have left, to stop the bleeding. That feeling is human. That feeling is understandable, and that feeling has cost ordinary investors trillions of dollars in lost returns over history. The people who succeed long-term are the ones who learn to sit with discomfort, who understood that a temporary drop in price is not a permanent loss of value, who kept investing while others panicked, and then they watched those same assets recover and climb higher than before. That quiet discipline is worth more than any investment tip you will ever hear. Let's tie this together with something real. Imagine two versions of your future. In one version, you never quite got started. Life kept happening, things kept coming up, and the years passed. In that version, you're still on the treadmill, stressed, stretched thin, and dependent on your next paycheck to keep everything from falling apart. In the other version, you started. Imperfectly, maybe. Modestly, perhaps. But you started. And time worked its magic on everything you consistently put in. That second version of you has breathing room, has choices, has peace. Those two futures are still diverging right now. Every single day you wait, the gap between them grows a little wider. This is not about being wealthy in some distant, disconnected way. This is about not having to worry, about giving yourself the one thing that money, when used correctly, actually provides. Freedom. Real freedom. Now here's the thing, understanding this conceptually is the first step, but knowing something intellectually and actually building it into your life are two very different things. The people who close that gap fastest are the ones who get structured support, real frameworks, real accountability, and real depth. The related programs linked below this video exist for exactly that reason. These are not for people who are comfortable being comfortable. These are for people who are genuinely ready to change the trajectory of their financial life starting now, not someday. The window to move on this is open right now, in front of you. Don't be the person who watches this video, nods along, and then goes back to everything being exactly the same. Your future self is counting on the decision you make today.